Today we are joining for another webinar. It is under the CIRDAP Knowledge Series 43. So it is on the topic of strengthening grassroots rural innovations, experience, challenges, and future roadmap. And our honorable speaker is Professor Anil K. Gupta, sir. He is from India, and about his brief profile and also for the welcoming all the participants, I kindly request our Honorable Director General, Dr. P. Chandrasekhara, sir, to give his welcome address and also introduce the speaker, sir.
Thank you, Hurain. Good morning to all of you. I'm very happy to see our honorable speaker, Professor Anil Gupta ji, and also our friends from Thailand, Fiji, and of course India, Nepal, and many other countries are also there. So it is our privilege to have talk by Professor Anil Gupta today on promotion of grassroots innovations. Friends, it is privilege for all of us and also for CIRDAP as a regional organization to have the time of Professor Gupta, because if you list the best of the best professionals in the world who are promoting grassroots level, rural innovations, probably the person who occupies the top position is with us today. He is going to share his lifetime mission and also the dreams before all of you. Professor number may be very small, but they represent each country and very senior officers are here. Probably the message reaches all our member countries. That is for your information. Friends, actually, this webinar, is part of, activities of CIRDAP to reach all the member countries and update them about latest innovations. And today we are going to, introduce Professor Anil K. Gupta. And it is my privilege. Professor, welcome to you to this August, gathering. Professor Anil K. Gupta is a visiting professor of a very prestigious institution, Indian Institute of Management. And also he was, associated with the Indian Institute of Technology, Mumbai. And he is also founder of, you can Google later, you will understand the depth and width of the work carried out by Professor. He is also founder of Honeybee Network, National Innovation Foundation, and SRISTI and GIAN. These are all the four organizations are basically meant for promotion of rural innovations at different, levels and through different approaches. And his, single mission, which he practiced throughout the life, is a promotion of, rural innovations, recognizing them and commercializing them and disseminating them so that the last mile people get benefited. But at the same time, rural innovations are also getting recognition. Uh, in fact, he is an innovator of innovations. He introduced a festival of innovation that was celebrated by, Honorable President of India office. Normally they invite school children, rural innovators, and ask them to explain their innovations. It reaches the entire world, and the best of the best innovations were also recognized. This institutionalization of recognition of rural innovations came from the constant efforts of Professor Anil Gupta, and his research interests are conservation and augmentation of biodiversity, building global value chain to get the grassroots and youth creativity its due, promote originality and innovation at different levels through various platforms like techpedia.in. And one of the unique, activity initiated by Professor Gupta, I would like to share in this August platform, is initiating Shodh Yatra. It is a learning walk, and he mobilized hundreds of very enthusiastic, young, energetic, intelligent people and take them to rural areas. He walked around more than 6,000 kilometers through Honeybee Network volunteers, and he is the most sought after speaker by different platforms. We were privileged to have listened to Professor Gupta's talk just a month before in National Institute of Rural Development, Hyderabad, where all our member country representatives were present. That is how we got connected with CIRDAP. And I would request you to read his very interesting book, that is Mind on the Margin or Not the Marginal Minds. It is very popular book, very popular among the people who think about innovation, and recognizing his the efforts. He is made a member of many prestigious committees. He is member of review committee of biotech clusters and a member of National Innovation Council, chaired by advisor to Prime Minister. He is a director of Dena Bank and many more organizations. And the recognition, it came from different quarters. He received Lifetime Achievement Award by FICCI, CSIR Bhatnagar Fellowship Award, Best Researcher Award at Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, Humanistic Management Lifetime Achievement Award by USA, Hermes Award, European Institute of Innovation, and Padma Shri, which is one of the national highest civilian award in a very big country, India. These are all the credentials and professional background of Professor Anil K. Gupta. In brief, Professor, it is our privilege. We are eager to listen to you. Thank you very much for your valuable time.
Thank you, Dr. Chandrasekhar. Thank you, Hooray, and thank you all the friends from CIRDAP and the member countries who are present. I will share my presentation, and I would very much wish that you could stop me anytime you wish, interrupt, stop, question, challenge. Because if we have some dialogue, if we have some arguments, then there is a chance that some ideas will stick and stay. But if I just keep speaking and you keep listening, then that wouldn't be the best way to use this opportunity. This triangle that you're seeing, I'll come back to this triangle again and again. This is the triangle which led to the establishment of GIAN in 97, where I'm sitting just now. Grassroot Innovation Augmentation Network, Gujarat Grassroot Innovation Augmentation Network. The innovators don't know where the investment is. Investors may not know where the innovator is and where the entrepreneur is. Not all innovators become entrepreneurs, please remember. And that's fine. Many of us, if we are challenged to set up a business, may not be able to do that. We may help the businesses, but we may not be able to run it ourselves. It depends. Some people can, many people cannot. So entrepreneurship is different from innovation. Entrepreneurship is doing the same thing over and over again, batch by batch, consistently. You have to produce a product. Innovation is you never do two things alike. You keep on modifying, you keep on modifying. And very many times we have to stop the innovator saying that, look, this version you freeze and let it go to this value chain, that is, go to the assembly line, let it become a product. And you keep on improving subsequently. But version 1 must be frozen and delivered to the people. Because they are never satisfied with what they do. And that quality of grassroots people from the grassroots, as distinct from people for the grassroots, they face different kinds of transaction cost. So when a farmer, an artisan, or a mechanic, or a lady in a village solves a problem, the challenges she faces in finding resources to scale up or to find support for converting it into business is very different than, let's say, a scholar from a research institute developing an innovation for common people. So innovation for grassroots developed by the professionals faces less difficult challenge. They also face challenge compared to the innovation from grassroots. Please keep that in mind as we go along. And you will see that this is my favorite picture, which I never get tired of showing in almost every talk that I give, because it brings out the fact that these 4 ducks, my colleague Anamika took this picture, the 4 ducks are moving in a direction, one direction, but this one, the 5th one, is defying the trend. in our families, in our communities, in your office, maybe, in your institution, there are always one or two people who would do things their own way. No matter how much guidelines you may give, how much insistence you may have, but that person would do the way things that person feels it proper. And we need more such people, the oddballs. Honeybee Network is also a network of oddballs. Crazy people, people who want to do things their way. And we must appreciate that because they want to do things their own way, they end up solving problem creatively. So what does Honeybee Network do? A nameless, faceless person comes in contact with the network, gets an identity. So we give voice, visibility, and velocity. Voice, visibility, and velocity. And each one of us should spend some time, maybe 5 minutes every day, in sharing some innovation from Grassroot. You know what happens is that all of you have social media accounts, you share, you read 1,000 things. But when it comes to innovations from below, there is not so much that is being shared today. In fact, I often say that if you evaluate your upload to download ratio, how much content you upload for social consumption, for influencing society, for making our students, our young children creative, inspiring them to try to solve problems and not live with them indefinitely. Now, if we want our societies to be creative, if we want our societies to be innovative, then it is very important that such content must be shared every day from our own country, from our own region, but also from other regions. Cross-pollination, that's what honeybee does, as I will come later. And therefore, please remember that in Philippines, for instance, learning, leveraging, linking, and legitimization became a national policy of GRIND. And this policy has helped a lot of people to be recognized. In fact, they have a program where they walk through the villages, identify such people. So I will strongly urge you to consider. So what are we doing? We are trying to cross-pollinate the ideas. We are trying to make people visible and giving voice to them. They should not be anonymous, protecting their intellectual property rights. When I was with NIF till 2018, National Innovation Foundation, we filed more than 1,200 patents in the name of the innovators. And mind you, one suggestion I will make to all of you, the attorneys, IPR attorneys are very costly people. They charge a lot of fees. But use our example that in India, not one attorney charged 1 penny from the grassroots innovators. They all did pro bono help. In your own country, mobilize the community of intellectual property lawyers and the firms and persuade them that please, we want your support. And I'm a board member of GLIPA, which also is the International Association. I can help the lawyers in your country to provide you this support without charges. Only the fees has to be paid for the government. They will not charge for their time if you want to file patents in the name of grassroots innovators. That's something that I can tell you. I'll be very happy to help you all. Whatever we learn from people should go back to them in their language. I'll show you some databases. We have multimedia, multi-language database also. I want to study in Tamil. Somebody wants to study in Bengali. Somebody wants to learn it in Telugu or in Malayali or in Malay language or in Fiji, some local dialect. It should be possible for people to learn in their mother tongue because today translation tools are available. So easily you can translate online immediately the content in any one language. And those who are illiterate, who can only learn in their own language, and you want to learn not from local but also global knowledge, 3 barriers to learning: language, literacy, and localism. We must overcome through multimedia, multi-language databases. We must share with them what we have learned. And there should be a fair and just benefits. If we develop some commercial enterprise, somebody may develop some income out of it, a fair share of that should go back to people. Now, these are the 9 E's. I will not spend time in describing each one of them. But as you can see, the ethics, the excellence, the empathy, the expertise, the entrepreneurship must be blended with efficiency, equity, environment, and education. We need to bring all these elements now. In some programs, something will be more, something will be less. But we need to keep track that these are the dimensions of a sustainable ecosystem, of a viable ecosystem, of a system that is responsive to the aspirations of people from grassroots. Now, this is a simple metric to find out how do we identify innovations. So you have a material on one side, method on the other side, application and delivery system. There are 4 dimensions. At least one of the 4 should be new. So you can have well-known material, let us say azadirachtin, which is extracted from neem. Method can also be old, well-known method of extraction. So you have old method, old material. But application is new. You are using it for growing hairs on the baldy head. Chandrasekhar would find it interesting. Now, that is a new use. When aspirin, which was a medicine for headache, was found useful as a blood thinner, that became innovation. That was a new use of a known compound manufactured by known method. And delivery system can be new. Supposing you have a patch, many people have diabetes, they have a patch of insulin, which senses the sugar level in your body and releases as much insulin as your body needs. That will be a really innovative method of delivery of medicine. We don't have such patches, but one day they will be there. The research is going on. So insulin may be by old material, method may be old, application is also old. That means for sugar reduction, all the 3 things are well known. Only thing new is the method of delivery. So please, when you look for innovations, when you recognize innovations, look at these dimensions and see where has a person tried to excel and improve the process. Of course, I will not detail it, but those of you who are interested, send me a mail and I'll send you all of this. The intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. Sometimes you feel from within, people want to solve problem, not because somebody else has told them to do that, that is extrinsic, but because they're not happy with the status quo. There is a trigger which often converts motivation into initiative, and then innovation, and the diffusion or discontinuance, as the case may be. And then the whole loop continues, because when you implement it, people make derivative innovation, or some problems come in between which have to be solved. So what is the value chain? The value chain is you scout and document. That is the first task every country has to do. Maybe some of you are already doing. Then validation and value addition. So if I make a claim that this plant is used to control this pest, there has to be an experiment to validate it, isn't it? Before we disseminate as a public institution, most of you come from public institutions. As a public institution professional, my responsibility is I give to people, I disseminate the knowledge which is validated, which is confirmed. So I can do an I can do monitoring of the farmer's practice, or I can do an experiment myself and then validate. And sometimes I can value add also. I can make the extract shelf life maybe longer by the method I use, so that you don't have to make a fresh herbal pesticide every time. Recognition, respect, and reward. We must recognize them. When we do show the yatras, we recognize innovative people at their doorstep. Of course, at national level also we recognize, but also at the local level. In village to village we go and recognize these people. So when somebody from outside comes and recognizes these people, the local community also becomes more proud of this. So I would strongly urge you, follow what method. If you don't want to walk from village to village, which we do, you can go by cycle. But don't go by car, because car will reach very fast and you wouldn't be able to slowly observe things on the way. Cycle is okay, but not car. I would not encourage that. But it's up to you what method you choose. IPR protection or DIY. That is the 4th part of the value chain. Intellectual property protection or do-it-yourself solution, DIY solution. We need both. Mind you, when we file patents for farmers, as I told you, we filed thousands of them, we do not enforce them against fellow farmers. So for people to people, innovation is open source. People to company, a commercial company, it is IPR is enforced. So we don't want to use a completely Western model. We have hybridized the model. For people to people learning, every innovation is open source. For people to farm, people to company, it is licensed. Then you can get a license fee if a company makes profit out of it. But if a person wants to survive and he is wanting or she is wanting to copy, please let them go ahead, let them do that, because right to life should take precedence over right to property. If you're not alive, if you're not able to survive, what's the point? Risk capital is very important, missing link, which most countries I'll strongly urge you to create risk capital. We call it micro venture innovation fund. You have heard about microfinance, but when did we hear about micro venture innovation finance? Risk capital with no guarantee, no obligant, no collateral. We give risk capital to these innovators to scale up, to make few more prototypes, to get them user trial done, to modify it. Because they may have made one proof of concept. They have to convert proof of concept into prototype, prototype into product, product into utility. There are several stages through which an idea has to pass through. You need funds for that. And there's no guarantee that you will succeed. That's why it is a risk fund. Please remember, so-called angel fund, venture fund, they don't support early stage innovations by common people. None of that, never. In the last 40 years, I can tell you, we have not come across a single fund, anywhere in the world, which will support a farmer's innovation. Sorry. Public institutions do, state governments may do, but private sector so far has not done. Not that we don't want it, we want it. We want private sector participation, very much. So try to persuade the corporations, the firms, the commercial channels in your country, if they can support nothing like that, and I would like to learn from that. But what I'm saying is, so far we have not succeeded. If you succeed, we would like to learn from it. Dissemination and database development. We should democratize the knowledge. Everybody should be able to learn from it. All our databases are open access. If you go to GIAN.org, GIAN.org/databases, just write this much on the web. All our databases, 1 million abundant patents, Techpedia having 200,000 engineering projects, thousands of farmers' practices, medicinal plants, all of these are available to you at no cost, no obligation. If you don't share with us, we don't mind, though we will wish that you do. We will love it. We will appreciate it. We will like to publish your practices in our Honeybee newsletter. We would very much wish that we recognize not only the innovator, but also the one who communicates to us, the communicator. But if you don't do that, still please use these databases, no restriction. Policy modulation for sustainable outcomes, we'll discuss that we need to make, for example, public procurement. Have we ever procured innovations from common people for public use, for primary health center, for my agricultural farm, for my educational institutions? Similarly, have we incorporated innovations in our curriculum? Please appreciate that if your textbooks for school and college do not have lessons based on these innovations, how will people get inspired? Oh my God, this person did not get much education, still could solve a problem. I am educated, I am getting education, I should do more. And many of them then will become partners of these. So the ecosystem will start evolving, people will start helping each other. So my request to you is, please incorporate in the school textbooks and college books lessons of life stories of grassroots innovators. How did they struggle? How somebody, a laborer, is able to develop a herbal pesticide, veterinary medicine, a multi-purpose food processing machine, etc., etc. These will inspire. Every country has such people, I can tell you. And we will give you example. This is about Shodhyatra. We walk in. Summer, we go to hot places. Winter, we go to cold places. And tomorrow, I'm going to Himalaya with our students. The normal Shodhyatra, summer and winter, anybody can join. You are welcome. But in autumn, I take my students to Himalaya for learning from 4 teachers, teacher within, teacher around, teacher in nature, and teacher among common people. From these 4 teachers, we try to learn. We also try to overcome exclusion in our search for innovations, spatial inclusion. You know, colleagues are there from Nepal, you know that, or Bhutan may be there, high altitude. Wherever water does not climb, many times institutions also not reach. Banks don't reach. Markets also sometimes don't reach. They climb the mountain. So people in the higher elevations sometimes are bypassed. In the valley, in the plains, you have all the infrastructure. You have lot of market, lot of high density, lot of institutions, private and public. But in the higher altitude, in the flood-prone region, in the drought-prone region, In the cyclone-prone region, sometimes infrastructure is weak. So spatial exclusion we have to overcome. We have to reach those places and look for creative people and support them. Sectoral exclusion, khadi, hand-spun cloth, handloom, neglected sector. Leather workers, neglected sector. Seasonal. Today, there is a lot of rain taking place, as you have been seeing in the newspaper. Many countries are having floods. So certain seasons, people get excluded. Social segments, some social classes get excluded. Certain skills get excluded. Sometimes the norms of the government themselves lead to exclusion. If you have the same norm, let us say one health worker for 1,000 people. In the plains, 1,000 people may be in one village. But in mountains, 1,000 people will be in 10 kilometers, 20 square kilometers, up and down. How can one person cover there? So you please appreciate that norms cannot be same for high density regions and for low density regions, for normal terrain and for undulating terrain. So sometimes the norms that we have create exclusion, and please be vigilant and check such rules. That next one is very critical. Non-human sentient beings, we should also not lead to exclusion of ant, squirrel, birds, dogs, cows, various animals. We should try to include their well-being also in our policies. So there are innovators who have developed very creative solutions for the birds to eat grains from the platforms. So even a concrete platform, they will put a layer of clay, does not get worn out. If it gets worn out by striking against the concrete platform, then it won't be able to pick up the grain. So there are people who innovate even in the bird feeding platforms. So we can be innovative, taking care of the birds, taking care of the fish, taking care of the animals. They are also part of our consciousness. They are also part of our cultural system, our knowledge system, our value system. So innovations which support these species should also not be excluded. Now, I mentioned different databases. Because of time, I will not go into detail, but please do go through gyan.org/databases, and you will find all of these databases listed there at one place. You can easily see them. This is important. One is science. Science is not only what is produced in the lab. Science is also when I do something, I do it or you do it, same result comes. I do it here or you do it in Dhaka or in Manila or somewhere else, same result comes. I do it any number of times and the same result comes. Replicability, testability, refutability. These tests which make a process scientific, that is the fundamental. Science is like alphabet. We will not compromise with science. Technologies like word, institutions are like grammar, collective action. Many innovations require collective action. This bridge cannot be built by one person. You need people to bring the roots together of the ficus species. And culture is like thesaurus. Yes, Naresh Babuji, please speak up.
Yeah, hi, sir. Hi, sir. Thank you for your time. Sir, I just want to understand this thing that in the given Indian ecosystem, do you see a need for any specific institutional intervention to address
that during 13th Finance Commission, we had a fund called as District Innovation Fund, but it lapsed when the next Finance Commission came. So I would urge that maybe there is a need for a district level innovation fund by a group of some principal of a college, administrator, an innovator, 2 or 3, 4 people can together govern this fund and provide risk capital. One doesn't have to go to the state capital. One doesn't have to go to the national capital to get these funds. At district level itself, we can create funds. And I'll be happy to share with you the document that we made when DIF was created. So Ministry of Finance, Central Government Ministry of Finance directly transferred funds to the district level when 13th Finance Commission gave this recommendation. So this is possible. Similarly, college students. In our education policy, there is a provision that students should be connected to the communities. Now, you may have similar provisions in your policies in different countries. And I will strongly urge that the students during summer vacation, during term break, request them to document both the traditional knowledge of the elders and contemporary innovation. You see, traditional knowledge of your parent may be innovation for me because I have never heard of that. And remember, more knowledge is getting lost in the current generation than ever in the history of humankind. Never before so much knowledge of the elders was lost as is being lost today because family structure has changed. And mind you, once this knowledge is gone forever. You cannot retrieve it no matter what AI tools and ML tools you use. You cannot retrieve it. You cannot recreate it. You cannot reconstruct it. So I would strongly urge that students, both in school and colleges, should be encouraged every week, one exercise. Find out an unmet need. Find out a creative solution. Find out the knowledge of elders. And they should then report to the class and spend an hour talking about that. 1 hour a week is not too much to find. But I can tell you this will become one of the most joyful hours for children and for our students because they will learn so much in that hour. They will recognize, some of them will say, I want to meet your grandfather because I have never seen that kind of craft, that kind of a skill, that kind of design, that kind of solution. I want to learn. And you know what? Intergenerational knowledge bridges will be built. So I would strongly urge to take some initiative in this regard and see whether we can engage students, young children, college students, school students, in mapping the minds of the masses, in mining the mind of the masses, mapping and mining. This is doable. We don't need more funds for that. We just need an institutional arrangement, as you rightly asked this question. We have to persuade teachers, and this will happen. We have been giving award to children. And I can tell you that children, you organize idea competition, even children can give innovative solutions. One girl in a school saw that all the taps were at constant height, like this. And she was a little dwarf, she could not reach the taps. She said, why can't you make it tilt? I can drink water from the tap below, next one can higher level, then higher level, then higher level. All of us can drink water properly without needing help of some third party. Good idea. She got it implemented. In her school, Chaya Thakur, she got award from 2 presidents, former President Dr. Kalam at the time and Shri Pranab Mukherjee. And she was invited to a very popular program of Amitabh Bachchan, a very famous hero of our country, who does a very popular TV program. She was invited there. A school girl from a rural school, she found a solution to a problem that we had all witnessed. I'm confessing before you. We stay in school during our Shodh Yatra. We have seen those taps at the constant height. It didn't occur to me, despite all my exposure. And this girl could find that problem and solve it. So please appreciate that. This will be a very humbling experience. You will see the role reversal. Children will teach and we will learn. We will become students and children will become our teacher. You know, I invited Chaya Thakur to my class as a visiting faculty. Youngest visiting faculty in IMA was that class 7 girl. I said, tell my student, they are very bright. They have a lot of ideas, but they don't implement that. Tell them, how did you get it implemented in your school? So I hope that this answers your question. I will just take 2 or 3 more examples, 10 minutes more, and then I will stop so that we can have more open discussion. 12:15, I will stop. Bioeconomy. So how can we trigger innovations? That question will arise, obviously, that we have some solutions, but we don't have solution to every problem. So how do we trigger innovation? And I would suggest that find out in your locality, ask people, local village council, with school teacher, find out what are the abundant and abundant bioresources. Because if you focus on these 2 kind of things, think that people are not using, they're wasting them, or think that are available plentiful, then poor will not be excluded because the resources are enough. And then we'll try to see how we can legitimize the second principle. How do we legitimize the second-hand part? Machinery is using second-hand part. That means we always talk about circular economy, zero waste economy, but when somebody devises a machine or device using second-hand component, we don't give regulatory approval. And that innovation then does not spread. Why shouldn't we do that? So long as it is functionally viable and efficient, we should allow that. So with great difficulty, after 25, 30 years of struggle, we have been able to get some of these devices now eligible for subsidy and for regulatory approval, but it took us a long time. So I would request that when somebody uses second-hand auto parts, second-hand some machine parts, and reassembles them and repurposes them to do something creative and innovative at low cost, encourage it. Now, we also need to create a salvage economy, as I said, using second-hand parts to use, because we don't want waste. You know how much electronic waste is getting into the oceans, getting into rivers, and so on and so forth. So let us look at this example again. My colleague Anamika, she worked in the project in Kashmir, Jammu Kashmir, Union Territory of Jammu Kashmir, in Sikkim, and in Kifre district of Nagaland, Myanmar border, Nepal border, and Pakistan border. They developed an oil. And then what was more interesting about this herbal oil was the name of the people whose knowledge made this product possible, innovative product possible, were given on the label. Ask yourself, in your country, is there a product in the market where name of the inventors, name of the knowledge provider are given on the label? And this idea will not come from the West. They have never done it. We should do that. It will go from east to west. When we start doing it, they will be forced to do it. And what is the harm in acknowledging the creative people on the label of a product so that every consumer becomes part of the ecosystem? Every consumer should know whose knowledge made this product possible, which is helping my quality of life. And thereby, maybe they will give some blessings. They will give some good feedback. Maybe they will feel inspired that, okay, so people from the villages who may not be very literate, but whose knowledge has made this product, which has helped me improve my quality of life. Thank you so much. So this culture we have to create, culture of creativity, culture of compassion, culture of collaboration, and culture of attribution, that we attribute knowledge providers. Another example, 30 varieties of kidney bean, rajma, we call it in our language. You must be having these beans in your country. And then with the help of Tata Institute of Genetics and Society, we did the analysis and we found that 6 of them had a high iron content. People didn't know. They knew that they were useful. They didn't know which 6 when we gave them. So sometimes the good practice in the people do right thing, sometimes for wrong reason, sometimes for not a scientific reason, cultural reason. We need to give back the scientific basis. This is an example of how databases can help. So for her thesis, Namka compiled all the climate resilient practices, post-harvest, during the production, pre-harvest, viral for livestock, tropical infestation, viral diseases, intestinal parasite, disorders, human, biodiversity, environment, water, soil. In other words, you can see that for climate resilience, this knowledge base will be very handy. Please make these databases. Let scholars do research and learn new heuristics, new principles, new metaphors from these innovations. So as I said, innovation for and from grassroots should be distinguished. This innovator, this is an innovation for grassroots. He can convert a 2-ton room into a cold chamber in the cost of just $70,000, just about $1,000, less than that. Done. Such a low-cost solution. You don't have to make a cold storage. This professor worked with 40 women and converted fallen leaves of coconut into straw. Again, another interesting idea. This fellow used water hyacinth. Many of you in Eastern Asia and parts of Pacific, you have this weed, aquatic weed. Bangladesh has a lot of this weed. Canals and rivers are full of it. And this weed has been used. Huren, you will like to read about it. They have used it to make a sari by blending it with cotton yarn. Isn't it nice? So much water hyacinth you have in your country, in Bangladesh. Use it. Make saris out of it and wear them. Wouldn't that be nice? Generate job for people. And at the same time, we clean our lake, we clean our rivers. Poor people who work in these water bodies will get also, and more fish will be there, because if these weeds are taking over, then fish also production goes down. This fellow has used poultry feathers. Again, a lot of women are involved in this for silk. These are various kinds of sprayers that ordinary people have developed. Bullock drawn, tractor drawn, cycle drawn, walking sprayer. You walk and in your shoes there is a pump which pumps the air and you, with both the hands, you keep spraying. Motorcycle-based sprayers. So many different kinds of spray. One problem, multiple ways of solving it. That is what grassroots innovations teach us, that there is no one way to solve problem. There are multiple ways. Depending upon how deep your pocket is, depending upon which conditions you work in, you can create your own solution. So we must trigger this idea of bottom-up innovations in every country, every society. Multi-purpose food processing machine, a manure spreading machine. And I don't have time to show you these videos, but sometime we will see a person, Navajit has designed a machine for those who don't have upper limbs. You go forward, the spoon will pick up the food and bring to you, you backward, and the spoon will go down. So all of these innovations were for common, this walnut variety. Vijay Shanti in Manipur, Northeast India, towards Myanmar side, uses lotus stem of the flower for making silk out of it. And this is, if it is left to rot in the pond, then water quality will become bad because BOD level will go up. So it is, you need to clean, you need to take it out. But when you take it out, what do you do with it? So she gets fiber out of it. And a lot of women are involved in this task. So a lot of these devices using second-hand components, motorcycle-based plowing machine, varieties of paddy, chickpea variety, machines of different kinds, all of these. Now, what do we need as a policy support? We need multi-location trials of these innovations to see where they are suitable, where they're not suitable. We need funding, we need exhibition participation. We should sponsor their participation. They may not be able to pay a fees for stall in an exhibition. We have to sponsor their participation. We want to learn. We should pay for their travel. We should pay for their stay and participation in the exhibition. Don't expect that they will be able to afford it. Most of the innovators may not be able to afford that. The fact that they're willing to share their innovation is good enough. The rest of the things we must do as a policymaker, our job is to facilitate this so that our children, our young people, our policymakers get inspired by the potential. Once you get inspired, you will probably develop more policy instruments to support them. Co-creation, pilot plants, enabling public procurement of the solutions that people have developed, getting regulatory approval, creating standards. Every country has a Bureau of Standards, and get these standards developed so that tomorrow if government has to procure, they will say, which standard does it match? And if there's no standard, for most of the innovations, there are no standards, then they will not be procured. So create standards. So example of waste, when you take corn, this fiber you waste, none of you eat it. I take tea of this fiber every day called corn silk. Today, when you get time, read on the net, find out what is corn silk good for women, for UTI, for men, for prostate, and antioxidants, and for kidney, and for many other things. So corn silk has large number of uses for urinary tract infection, for relief from the irritation, people who can't retain water, etc., bladder irritation. All of these incontinence, this is a very good solution. We are throwing it away. If the grains are sold in quintal, 100 kg or 1 ton, but this fiber, the silk, will be sold in gram, you can increase the income of the farmers so much. So let me close by saying that we should do the need gap analysis. We should find gaps and then issue challenge awards. Please understand, not all problems will be solved by grassroots innovators. There will be unsolved problems. We should issue challenges for them. We should also find missing stakeholders. If the labs which have to test these ideas charge fees, which is they charge to private sector or big companies, they are the same fees from a farmer, that system is not going to work. So you should provide concessional or no fees system. Create a public fund by which you can pay the fees to the lab and get it tested. Don't expect the innovator to be at this cost. If you don't create a system of that kind, then a lot of innovation will remain untested, and that's not fair. That's not going to work. So what kind of, a whole range of, every stage, ask yourself, if this is a person who can't afford the cost of this, doing this, if a person cannot come here, should I not provide him travel grant? Should I not provide him stay funds for staying there and showcasing the innovation? Ask yourself the question that if I want this innovation to be showcased in 5 provinces of my country where agroclimatic conditions are similar, how will people come to know if I don't support on-farm trial? Private sector does demonstration of their chemical pesticides, of their seeds, of their machines. They generate demand. Who will generate demand for these people? Ask yourself this question, and then you will find the answer. So a lot of policy solutions, risk fund, loans, grants, equity, joint venture, all of these will follow when you will develop. So let me close by saying a change not monitored is a change not desired. If you are not tracking the innovations, if you do not have a database of these innovations, if you are not including them in the textbook, that means you don't want your children to be creative. That is very honest about it. I'm being very honest and very straightforward. If you don't want young people to be creative, then don't tell them these stories. Very simple. They will always think the solutions come from the West. They come from big labs, from big workshops, big companies. We cannot develop. You will induce helplessness, learned helplessness. People will learn to be helpless if they are not exposed to this innovation database. So creativity counts, knowledge matters. Innovations transform and incentives inspire, but not just material incentives, also non-material incentives, and not just individual incentives, also collective incentives. Thank you so much. I'm open. Let me have your questions, comments, criticism. 2 minutes over, but we still have time.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for your. How can I say it? I am trying to find the synonym of wonderful, important, and I'm trying to find a more. So thank you so much, sir, because it's a vision we all are trying to reach, and someday we will reach. So now, yes, and now we are opening for the, floor for the discussions and question and answer. Anything you want to ask, you can place in the chat box so I can read, or you can directly ask to our honorable speaker. And now it's open.
Thank you, Hiren. Just I would like to, initiate few things. Number one,
yes, sir.
It is time for action. Very inspiring presentation. But what do we do after the presentation? How do we take the ideas forward is very, very important. I have few things to shortlist. Number one, very positive statement came from a professor. Mobilize communities in your place, and I will help you. Thank you, Professor. All the member countries, you identify an institution or your department, let them mobilize the communities, and we can look upon professor to lead this based on his, for more than 4 decades of experience. That is number one. Number two, many policy makers are also here. Very important input came from Professor. Micro Venture Innovation Fund. If possible, you innovate. That will trigger chain of actions. If that is the basic step, we may have to, note, policy wise. The third thing, it is a very useful input for CIRDAP. Probably it is my suggestion to my colleagues, using students to, document innovation during their, holidays and free time, or, full time, whatever it is. But institutionalizing innovation in student life, can we do that? Is it by a action as a professor? Can we try in 1 or 2 countries? This is one idea. The fourth, last one, Professor, we have initiated Rural Development Innovation Challenge. We have kept a few $1,000. Any new idea comes from any member country on rural development with less cost, less time, how we can benefit a large number of rural communities by uplifting their quality of living standards. We have kept certain incentives. In the last week, our policy body meeting held at Myanmar in Yangon, we have got it, approved also. Shortly, every one of us can see the announcement with respect to that.
That's a very good idea. Very good idea.
we would like to document it and circulate among all our member country policymakers so that they have a pool of new ideas in rural development, which they can take according to their respective countries. Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody else, please? Any suggestion, any question, any ideas that you wish to share? Somehow.
May I?
Please go ahead, Vasanti.
Okay. First of all, I would like to congratulate and thank the DG CIRDAP for organizing this very, very important talk on rural innovations, and to have a person like Dr. Anil Gupta is really a dream come true for, I think, for many of us, especially me, who was a part of NIRD. I have never listened to him in person or online. But listening to him was indeed very inspiring. So I just have a small question, or rather an observation and a question followed by a question. Actually, you were mentioning that documentation of these rural innovations is very important. That I agree very totally. First is the documentation, because we have done a lot of documentation. I think your organization also has done a lot of documentation, and organizations like NIRD, because I was there and we brought out volumes of directory of rural technologies. In fact, I was a part of it as an editing team, and we I think 3 to 4 volumes we brought out. These kind of documentations are happening, but I think what is important is, taking this documentation, implementation or dissemination of these technologies is very important, even for their actual application by the beneficiaries. I think that is very important. And there, because you've also been talking about, the role of students, college students, school students maybe. But I would like to, because coming from also working in a youth organization, I always look at could be the role of youth in actually disseminating these kind of rural technologies. So what would be your suggestions, sir, to actually try to when promote this kind of technologies through the youth, and in India now, I don't know, this is just to sharing information among the other countries which are there. The ministry has launched this program, My Yuva Bharat. So, so can we use this, portal, actually where, there are a number of volunteers, youth volunteers, to actually take these technologies to those users who can use them and benefit from them, because I think that is an important aspect. And you ended your lecture very nicely with that, those words that you have to monitor, and think monitoring. Dissemination is also part of monitoring besides documentation. So I just want to have your views, and whether we can use our youth, the Indian youth, for promoting these technologies among the actual users.
In fact, in every country, the youth have to become the harbinger, they have to become the carrier, they have to become the agent of change, because they are the future of our society. Now, how do we do that? There are some very simple steps. One is that every student should identify the unmet need of their community. Then they should search whether somebody has found a solution. And then if they have found a solution, which may not be necessarily very optimal for their condition, but it gives ideas, they should share it in the class. So every school, every college must have, as I said, an hour a week. I'm not asking for too much time. 1 hour a week can be not found. What are we talking about? For the growth of our mind, for the purpose of cross-pollination of ideas, for learning from the open lab of our life, I think 1 hour is not too much. And if we can create this space, even informally, I would say, after the college hour, after the school hour, all those children who are interested, stay back. For 1 hour, we are going to talk about solutions and the unmet need of our society. That's all. No other discussion will take place. And your identification of unmet need triggers in my mind a creative idea. And I say, can we try this experiment? And now the group is formed and they will try some experiment. And who knows, an innovation will be found. So we need to, Chandrasekhar, please try to put in your newsletter this appeal to all the education secretaries, education ministers of every country. Find an hour a week where unmet needs of the society, knowledge of the elders, and the innovations are discussed together. Sometimes the unmet need will trigger search for innovation, and maybe possible an idea from Malaysia. For example, we gave an award. We give HBN Kriya Award, Honeybee Network Creativity and Inclusive Innovation Award, Global Award, and National Award. So we got one very interesting innovation from Malaysia where they put a small envelope on the mango fruit by a long pole so that the fruit doesn't get damaged. We don't have such a practice in our country, but we also have a lot of mango cultivation. Similarly, in Philippines, we found 1 peso internet. In 1 peso, you can get 5 minutes of internet. People who can't afford the data, India is cheap, but other countries may be costly. So all your messages you download, all your messages you upload in that 5 minutes. You are part of the internet economy now in just 1 peso. So like that, there are a lot of such innovations. In Indonesia, I'm sure there are a lot of innovations. Philippines, Thailand, every country has a huge number of solutions. Somehow we are not learning from each other enough. That's all I'm saying. And my purpose will be served if Chandrasekhar in every newsletter have a column for one of some of these innovations. You have a lot of news about other things, but add one column. And so far as our database is concerned, you have full right to use anything, anytime, anywhere. You don't have to consult us. You don't have to ask us. But I'm sure other countries would also have similar open databases. Please let us start sharing with each other and build links to each other's database on our website. So when somebody comes to Thailand and looks for innovations for farmer, they get a link to Indian database, they get a link to Malaysian database, YIM, they get a link to GRIND database in Philippines, like that. So we can have mutual links. Yes, Mr. Mehdi, can you speak up now? Go ahead, please. You have a minute, maybe, the last question of yours. You have been trying for some time, your hand is raised. Speak up.
Yes, Mr. Mahdi, you can ask.
Unmute yourself. Unmute, switch on your mic. No, I don't think the person is able to hear. There is a problem in the connection. So, we are coming to the end of our session. So if anybody wants to give a hopeful sign of how can we work together, how can we be helpful to you, by all means, please feel free. Honeybee Network, we need a lot of volunteers and you can all be part of our network and help each other. That's all we want to do. And help people not become anonymous. They must be recognized by name and address. And if we develop any commercial returns, a reasonable share, including from our DA and Onridium, must go back to these people. This is what we believe, that we have no right to enrich ourselves by talking about their knowledge. So anything that we get, a share must go back to the people. That's what we have been trying to do. And put their names on the label when you develop new products. Thank you so much, Professor Randa. Thank you so much. God bless all of you.
Thank you so much, sir. And now I would like to request our Director General, sir, for the closing remark of this webinar. And I just want to announce one thing. This webinar recording will be placed in our CIRDAP official YouTube channel. So I have shared that link in the chat box. Kindly subscribe so you will get the notification of any of our activities videos there. Sir, our DG sir.
Yeah, thank you, Viren. Thank you, Professor. As usual, it was a wonderful, interesting, innovative talk. Definitely, it inspire minds and make every one of us to think according to our organization mandate. And you made it open, flexible, simple. So it is invitation for everyone to make use of your guidance and expertise. Maybe institutions, you can mobilize the communities and we can seek professor support. I would like to repeat, already I made those things. These are all the takeaways from this particular talk. Mobilize communities, maybe Shodhyatra or innovation, discovery work, learning work can be undertaken in respective countries. Your institution can take lead and we can also seek help of a professor. Number two, If you are in, as a policymaker, think of a micro venture innovation fund. Probably money matters, and it also trigger lot of activities and individuals and institutions to involve, because they need not worry about little fund what is required. The third thing, very important, millions and millions of students during their leisure time or school time, and making innovation as part of their thinking and action. Professor is suggesting 1 hour per week. Somewhere if it is tried and we can demonstrate, it is very useful. It becomes very attractive for other countries also to, adopt. For example, in India, 30,000 agriculture graduates, they go for rural agriculture work experience program to the villages for 6 months. 6 months they are in villages. And this is very critical time. They can learn from rural innovations, and they can also work for documentation and dissemination. And please take part in CIRDAP Rural Development Innovation Challenge. Wait for the announcement. Shortly, only 2-3 days back it was approved, and it will come very shortly. And we will also try, Professor, to pick the best of the best rural innovations documented by Honeybee Network, your organizations, and maybe a digital publication and wider circulation. We will try.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
And
Professor.
thank you, everybody. And I like that. I searched for the meaning of Krup, Kran, Krun, the word from Thailand. Thank you so much, Mr. Spawat. Thank you so much. I appreciate. I was wondering what does this mean. Thank you so much. In Vietnam, I found a irrigation channel-based power generation unit. So farmers put that small turbine in the irrigation channel in Hue University. When I had come for a lecture, I found that in the farmers' field, and 2-3 houses can get electricity for their music, for their television, and all of that. So there are lots of innovations, Shekhar. We really have to uncover them. Extremely affordable solution in Vietnam for gas, biogas in the irrigation channel. You don't need extra land for that. A tube floats in the water. Very simple. Inlet, outlet, and the gas comes in from the top. So a lot of such innovations are there in all these countries. I hope we will get a chance to learn from them. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you, Professor.
But thank you all. Thank you for joining us. Advance invitation for all of you for the next webinar, which will be CIRDAP Knowledge Series 44. So we will circulate in our website and social media. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, sir.